the Warhammer Skull Session. I am Rob, your host, and I'm joined today with my dear friend Mason and co-host. How you doing, Mason?
Going well, Rob.
Oh man, awesome. Sounds great. So today what we're going to talk about is the General's Handbook 2020 and all the goodness that's found in this for open play, match play, and narrative play. A lot of cool things going on with the General's Handbook 2020 for Age of Sigmar. But before we get into all that stuff, let's talk a little bit about our hobby progress. Mason, what's on your desk?
I am continuing working on my enforcers. I've got 4 subjugators done last week and starting on another 4. And then after that, I have 4 more to go. So kind of trying to push through and get these done either by this week or early next week to just get it finished either by the end of July or the start of August.
Sounds like a plan. See, when you're hobbying, you kind of need a plan to move forward and stay dedicated. It's really hard when you have hobby ADD to stay focused, but you do not seem to have that problem. Do you have hobby ADD there, Mason?
No.
Same here.
I have a closet of shame that I look at and I feel happy when it goes down, and I hate when I have to add to it. So that's why I try to finish a project and get it done, because that means it's not in my closet anymore.
I feel you completely. I have that hobby OCD myself, where I start a project, I really need to get it done and not give excuses for myself and work hard and diligently to get that project complete. Speaking of which, it is tempting with the Indominus box set coming to my possession soon. It's not in my possession currently. I'm sure our friend Brian picked it up. I'll probably get it this weekend. But I'm just more excited to look in that rule book so we can have 40K 9th edition battle reports on the channel. And that's exciting. So today on my hobby desk, I'm just doing this little Canis Rex. Yeah. Just
that little guy.
Just a little guy. All right, so I'm doing, this is, you cannot see it on this camera, but it's like a copperish dark steel, which I put in there. So there's definitely some reds and brown tones and inks that I put into my gunmetal gray paint in order to get that through. And I'm going to do a video on that brown steel or red steel. Warm steel. And I started doing the shoulder pauldrons right here. So
it's not blue steel, Rob?
No, I can do blue steel.
Blue steel?
Yeah. I mean, get the helicopter and everything. It's a great movie. So I did a boo-boo. As you can tell over here, anybody who has Canis Rex, is that the red and blue are supposed to be alternating. But if you put them like this, you're going to see that both of these shoulders are red. Or if you turn them this way, they're both white. So I figured, well, I'm not going to follow the box art. I'm going to do my own thing like I usually do. And I'm just going to wing it and see what happens. But yeah, I did a red and blue. I did a white and red. White and red pauldrons over here. And I also did for the mask there. So that's 3 colors red. Dark, mid, and highlight for each one of those. And the white, I actually painted these with inks. No paint used for these shoulders. And then I have that brownish tinge on the side for those. And I'm going to do a video on that too. There's going to be a lot of content coming out of this Night Titan. But the surprising thing is not that I'm doing a Night Titan. The surprising thing is that my goal is to be able to get it done in 1 week. That's it. 1 week, full Night Titan. There's the challenge.
That's quite a challenge. That's quite a challenge, especially for that size of a model.
Nah, it's all right. My last one took me 6 months. I think condensing it down to 1 week when I have the chance to paint would be just about fair. Yeah, that's about right. Also did dark steel. I did it right there. You can see I did panel modulations with dark steel into chrome steel right there. And it's looking pretty epic. I'm going to weather this up pretty well. I'm thinking about using weathering enamels in order to add some kind of definition to this as well. Plus, I'm going to do a video on panel lining, which I got the Tamiya panel lining, and I wanted to see how easy it's to use and how to use it, and then show everybody else like how they can use it for their hobby and how easy or not it is. And I want to compare it to oil panel lining as well, so maybe there's difference there. All right.
There isn't, but because I've used both the panel liner and oil wash to do panel lining on my Eldar.
Okay.
And I felt that the panel lining from Tamiya is just way easier to use. It's like you don't have to do all the prepping of the oil wash with the oil paints and stuff. It's just already there, and you just drop and go.
So it's like right out of the box, ready to go.
Yeah, all you need to do is gloss varnish your model.
Nice. I'm also going to do some weather streaking. I want to see, I think MiG Ammo or AK Interactive have really great rust streaks effects that I want to get into.
Yeah, I actually picked up a pot of, what was it? Let's see. Of the AKA Streaking Grime.
Yeah, I'm looking for that.
To try that out.
Yeah.
They had it at the shop, and they have like a ton of, like, I think almost maybe 7 or 8 of the types of streaking grime stuff that AKA makes.
How much they retail for?
It was very hard for me not to buy all of them.
Yeah.
Because they had like mud, dust, winter dust, rust, dry rust, grit, all that stuff. Looked really cool.
Yeah, man. I think I'm definitely going to stop by the store and pick some of that up if I have a chance this week. All right. So there's our hobby progress. Exciting stuff. All right. So let's talk a little bit about the news. So let's transfer over. All right. There you go. Let's get to start off with a little bit of AOS, since this is an AOS focused show this time. But we are going to talk a little bit about 40K. I mean, it's kind of hard not to with the Indominus box set releasing and all the exciting new models and all the hype around there. So it's kind of hard not to. But let's start off with Age of Sigmar and the Elven Pantheon. All right, so these are all the elves. We have Malarian, which I believe is Morathi's son. You can tell that they have the same winged snake weird kind of thing going on there. But he befits the Lord of Uglu, the realm of lies. So you can only trust one thing. Everything he says is absolutely opposite. So doesn't that make him truthful? It's just like Reverse Day. All right, just keep going. My mind's blown on that one. We have Alariel, which I still think is a freaking epic model, and it's one of the reasons why I kind of wanted to start a Sylvaneth army, but I missed the boat by not getting a really totally awesome Battle Force box when they came out. And really, if I had that box, the deal that you got from that box would have pinned me to start an army of Sylvaneth, which is really, really cool. Notice that Alariel has her own army, the Sylvaneth. But Malarian, I see nothing for Malarian. Oh, poor Malarian. Teclis, hashtag Moo has his own army. That's right, the Crack Elves, or the Lumineth Room Lords.
Yep.
Which
with
they have
weird ass mount in the background there.
Yeah, really weird. With the Paranormal Engines, which I picked one up. I picked up a Paranormal Engine so we can have something to fight over. That and Baleful Realm Gates as well. We have Tyrion. Yep, because he's right of the Rune Lords. Then we have Morathi. Morathi also has her army going out. They are part of the Order Pantheon, which is kind of weird. Kind of weird. Little murder elves. Just, hey, we're murder elves. We're totally about order.
Yeah, there's the whole kind of, and it's an interesting callback to how it is in 40K lore, where the god Cain, the god Cain, is very similar to Korn, but like it's just he's not evil. It makes even less sense when you take it over to AOS, where I'm like, you've rewritten the lore, and these look like chaos elves, but it's like, nope, they're in order.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that the idea here is that order is not good; it's just order. Just like Nagash was part of the Order Pantheon, even though he's clearly not a good dude. I mean, he's awesome, but he's just not a good dude. He's like, I'm going to do the right thing.
Well, I think it's more they are united against chaos.
Yeah.
Nagash is not united against chaos because he's like, I don't care about chaos because everything dies in the end more for me.
Right.
So
and he's not wrong.
Yeah. That whole thing is, I'm like, it's just basically they're all fighting over who gets to process the souls.
Right. I guess there's some kind of order to Marathi. Like there's a caste system where they have the elites and then they have the foot soldiers and everybody knows their place. So in that aspect of it, I think that there is some type of order there, but it's not about good versus evil. It's about that gray area. It's about, hi, I devote my love to you, oh Marathi warrior. And it's like, you do? And then they just like slice you open. You're like, aw, you gave me your heart. That's Marathian. And but then what's that?
Marathi has an awesome model.
Oh heck yeah. Absolutely. I would love to paint her as a diamondback snake. It's like if you like painting snakes, some snake patterns, I mean that is the model for you. Epic model. Oh, what's this? What do I see here? Do I see dark elves?
I'm guessing this might be a Warcry warband.
Still, I would think the herald of what's to come for AOS. You don't think so?
Because there have been box sets before, like their Silver Tower board games.
Oh yeah.
Where they have had models in there that you would think they're like, oh, this must foretell an army of some sort, and that army never happened. So it's quite possible this could just be like either a one-off for a box game or something for Warcry, or maybe it could be a actual army release. I doubt it, because since this is kind of like there would be way more fanfare if this is them announcing Dark Elves.
I think so too. I think maybe that what they're doing here is testing the waters. If they see an overwhelming response to what they put out here, then as a company, it would be worthy for them to invest the time and energy and the absolute obscene amount of money to be able to develop, create artwork for, create a codex for, produce on a massive scale, create box art, pay them, ship it all out and make it happen. So, testing the waters is a smart thing to do, but I do have to say pretty epic models. I mean, really cool stuff.
Yeah, they are really cool models. And I'm kind of thinking that they're probably making Dark Elves anyway, given the fact that they've made the Lumineth the Realm Lords.
Makes sense.
I'm like, they're probably in the pipeline and probably going to be whatever the next AOS army drop is. Probably not this year, but next year.
Boo, 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 boo.
Because this year we're still waiting on the Sons of Bahamut to come out.
That's right. Oh, the big guys. Pretty cool stuff for the elves. If you are an elf fan, I know they're not the traditional pointy high elves that we're kind of used to in Legends, in fantasy, in the old fantasy, but they're new. They're trying. Oddly enough, I do not see any of the Identity here. Isn't that weird?
Yeah,
they don't have a god, so to speak, do they?
I don't think so.
Hmm.
It's kind of some of the factions, they're kind of very lax about expanding on their lore. And I have Deepkin's one of them where they basically release them and then nothing else has come out for them.
Wait. So basically they released them and based on their lore, they forgot about them. That's perfect. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. All right, let's transfer into... That's right. The Warhammer 40K launch party preview. I know we're not going to put any of the videos there, but new codex. Look at the look of the new codex. It looks kind of kiddish, to be honest with you. It looks like more cartoonish to me. Like, I don't know.
It's the font.
It is the font.
Ever since they transferred over to the new logo, it looks, I agree with you, it looks less grimdarky and more kind of generic sci-fi.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't have that like high gothic feel to it.
Right. Not at all.
Though I'll have to say, if these codexes are laid out the way the rulebook is, these are going to be amazing codexes.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for the Space Force to come. I mean, you have some of the pictures right here. Excellent artwork. It looks like big print. It's good for old people like me. All right, you have Crusade rules built in. They're really pushing the Crusade. They're really pushing having all those instead of having just a campaign. That campaigns are already more and more people are doing campaigns, so everything is just included for you. I think that's really cool.
And the Crusade is a good chunk of the rulebook. Which I'm regretting not getting the rulebook because the rulebook is probably one of the best rulebooks they've come out with in my recent memory.
Wait, didn't you get the Indominus box set?
I did, but I did not get the rulebook. I just got the Space Marine models.
You split it. Right.
Yeah.
Got you.
But the thing is, just a side tangent about the rulebook. I love the rulebook for multiple reasons. One, they spent a lot of the pictures are of their art, not of the models, which I really like because I'd rather see the artwork they've done of stuff than the studio painted models.
Right.
Two, they have these sections where they're showing off various people who worked on the rulebook, their armies they've done for like Indominus and through Crusade, and they're not studio painted. They're painted like what us plebeians would paint. And I appreciate that they put that kind of art, those kind of pictures in a rule book. Because it gives people realistic standards. And it's amazingly well laid out. There's nice big print, it's got nice pictures, and it's got like kind of a nice order to it. And in the back, they also have a reference thing for all the keywords.
Oh, nice.
You might need.
Well, these are definitely awesome codex. And I really do appreciate it. I can't wait to sink my teeth into the rule book. I think our friend B, he ordered 2 boxes. He might have an extra rule book for you.
Yeah, I don't know how many boxes he ordered. The way he was talking, he like maybe got like 4 or something. I don't know.
Wow.
But yeah, I now want to try to pick one up just because the rule book, after reading it, it's so good and worth having. But I see now we have what's it called? The
Gladiators. I saw this coming. They already replaced. Well, they had a replacement for the Land Raiders, which I said once and got yelled at, but it's true. They do have a replacement because it carries Primaris Marines, and they no longer are going to. Well, they have the smaller attack Marines, but they're not really as valid as the Primaris Marines, so they're getting kind of shelved. So of course you're going to want to have your Rhino being replaced, and I don't think these can carry anything. I don't think they can. But you have the Predator replacement on the little hover technology. Um, and which I'm wondering, why couldn't they do the bikes in a hover technology if they're going this direction? But that's just me. All right, so you have the ones with the twin las cannons. You see a lot of kill shots going on there with that. The Reaper with those Gatling cannons, which is pretty cool. I like it. I'm probably going to get one of each. And then finally, you have the Gladiator Lancer, which is basically your big monster killer, one shot, kind of zap them all, which is pretty. I don't know. I like them. I'm gonna get one of each. That's for sure. I'll have them in my army. Yeah. But what do you think about the new Gladiator, sir?
So I don't like the model. It would have been fine if it was on treads. I would have liked it if it was on treads. I do not like the fact that it hovers.
I kind of, this for me was I don't want to, like the moment where I'm like, I don't want to do Marines anymore.
And it's mostly because I like vehicles that are, like have treads for that kind of look. And I just like I have a repulsor, I have the repulsor executioner, but this just looks kind of ridiculous to me with the hover. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people are going to buy them because looking at the weapons they have on them, they're going to be ridiculously good.
Mm-hmm.
Especially the Reaper one is probably going to pump out like 30 plus shots.
Oh yeah, infantry.
The Valiant is going to get 4 las cannon shots at 24 inches, and then 2 melta gun shots at 24 inches.
Yep.
And then the other one's probably got the same gun that the Executioner has.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, of course these things are going to sell.
Oh yeah.
But I'm like, I would have liked them on treads. So this probably means I'm gonna, if I like my tanks to be like tanks.
You got to convert them.
I'm not going to convert them.
I'm about to say that is an immense amount of work, sir.
Yeah, I will probably I'll do guard because it kind of like I'll probably get the flyer if they come out because the flyer will at least be good. But yeah, it's the hover thing for me. I'm like the more you look at these, I'm like, if these had treads, they wouldn't look ridiculous.
I'm telling you right now, all flyers are going to get replaced too. That's just going to happen. Because right now, especially for the Space Wolves, we have something that can only carry TAC Marines. So
I'll get the because I'm pretty sure the flyers are going to be awesome.
Oh,
it will look awesome, and I'm like, I'm fine with the flyer. It's their tanks hovering that I have an issue with.
You know, if it's kind of cool if you have these like 2 repulsive magnets and then it literally floats. I've seen that. It's like insane.
Yeah, that could be cool. It's just my thing is it's like the whole Imperium shtick for me was it's like they were kind of still using old technology but modernized.
Yeah.
And now it's like, so there's no difference between their technology and Tau technology, Eldar technology, Necron technology. Like, so is it like everyone's supposed to have a hover tank now?
Yep. If it's elite and everybody has it, it's just the norm.
Yeah, well, it's just for me. It's I'm a treadhead, and to be a treadhead, it has to have treads.
Take triple Bane blades to your party.
No, just the Imperial Guard tank army.
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to get replaced because they don't get the new toys, do they? They just don't.
Well, and the thing is, it never was like a new toy thing. That's because if you look at it, like even on like way back in the like the Leman Russ is like kind of a little bit of a better tank than the Predator.
Mm-hmm.
And like the Predator never like got like heavier armor or anything like that, or any like upgrades to that chassis. So it's kind of it also their whole big thing was that the technology didn't really advance.
Mhm.
And so it's like I can see getting Primaris, but this whole like we're jumping to hover tanks. I'm like, you could have just done new variants of like these, but with treads, and that would make sense. But no, we got to go hover, and I could rant about the hover for the entire episode.
I'm telling you right now, the one thing I really do like about it is not that it's hover. I mean, it's okay for me. I can accept that it's hover personally. It's that it has a base, which makes transporting your miniatures a lot easier because I magnetize. So, I mean, I like that feature. I wish that the current shredded tanks had some kind of base, so I can do that too. But that's just my own selfish thing. I don't mind I don't mind the layout of this. I think it's pretty cool to have like your Primaris creeping out there saying, "Hey, what's up? I got some 2 las cannons to your face." But he's not mounted with a gun. Like he's just shooting the main artillery tanks right there. He's shooting the main weapons right there. He doesn't have something that's popping out with a little bolter or anything like that, like the current tanks. This design here, the circular guns, I seen that on Forge World, so that's something from Forge World. It's been like just ripped off of the Mars pattern, and here we have it now. I love the reflection on this monitor here, and I am definitely stealing that, GW. I am totally doing that. So it's dark into the light, and then it just has that light glimmer, and the light glimmer keep going and going and going, and I will just get some orange ink, make it happen, man. That is awesome. Good for you guys. Good for you. And the way that you put the light glimmers on just the corners there is pretty good. I'm still not a fan of having every single edge highlighted because it's like, that's not physics. That's not how it works. But okay. Does make it pop. So, yep. Those are my positives about it. One of us has to be positive, darn it. Let's talk about the monolithic arrival. Check this out. Everybody who just bought and painted their monolith is probably saying, darn it, now I need to get the new one. It is pretty epic, though.
Yes, I feel like this is a suitable successor to the monolith.
Yeah.
That it does that model for as powerful as it was in the Necron army. This, like, it looks the way it should.
I like the old monolith. I didn't think it was too shabby, but this one definitely looks cool. And it looks like it's a lot larger.
Yeah, it looks like it's larger. It also has one of my favorite special effects where it has a Necron coming through the portal.
Oh, yeah, that is so cool.
Which, those were the two big kind of center points of, I think, of the monolith that kind of let it down somewhat, is that the two were the crystal in the center, and then the portal, which were both the green plastic. Right. They're not green plastic anymore, and they both look suitably epic on this model.
Oh, yeah.
And I wonder what size base it's on, because that, if it's the size of the model, that's got to be a huge round base.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I like that crystal and that. I think that's Canoptic Wraith. Is that what it is back there beyond that crystal? I don't know. We'll figure it out in just a bit. Get a closer look at that. So we have these guns on the side. Do you know what kind of damage these things do?
If it's like what they were on the old monolith, they're basically triple versions of the Gauss flare, like what the warriors have. So I think it's like probably like 6 shots, strength 4, -1 Ren, 1 damage. But it has like 4 of them.
Right. And then there's some kind of cannon. If you look at the original picture, I'm going to swoop up over here really quickly. They have different kind of weapon loadouts. So you have these over here. Let me see if I can get that picture for you. So you have this kind of weapon.
Yeah, I'm not what sure that is. That's a new, because the old monolith did not have variants to the weapons. So that's a new change to it. I'm guessing it's probably some form of Tesla or something.
Yeah.
Because those are kind of the 2 weapon options that Necrons have. So I'm guessing it might be Tesla, but we'll have to wait for the codex to drop to see.
Yeah. And forgive me if I'm wrong, but it kind of looks like they painted this in a rush. Either that or the texture is actually part of the model. Or they just did not clean it up properly. I don't know. Can't tell. A lot of dry brushing.
I'm guessing it's part of the model.
Okay, because if those are paint streak, then there was just a whole bunch of dry brushing going on in this one.
Yeah, I'm guessing it's part of the model, given that looking at some of the new warriors,
yeah,
they have some of that battle damaged look on them.
True.
So I'm guessing that they've modeled in battle damage onto it, which I'm like, it's nice if you wanted battle damage on there, but if you didn't want battle damage on there,
yeah, you're out of luck.
You're out of luck.
Right. So there's that spider thingy, bobber, and he kind of leaks down. Let me show you. This is the bottom tail. It's curling around right here.
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's a
canoptic wraith, I think. Some spider, and aren't they spiders? Where's that?
Yeah, I don't know if it's a wraith or there's I forget the name of it. It's not a wraith, but it's basically goes around and harvests Necron dead. And collects them, and I forget what the name of that is. I think it's called a tomb spider.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I think that's what that is. They may have changed the name, but I'm not.
I was thinking Bleep Loop 2000, but no, Tomb Spider sounds more legit than one of my guesses.
Yeah.
Here's that feature of the Necron getting formed, and it's just pieces of him. Yeah. That's awesome. I wonder if he can fire. If he's sentient enough. That is so awesome.
I like the jade they painted behind the armor.
I love that color. I mean, they do that for Nagash as well for the army, and I'm still looking for similar paints to get that kind of effect, because I would love to create that kind of effect. I will try with the GW paints that they recommend, but I've run into something where they say they recommend certain kinds of paints for certain kinds of things, and it just doesn't work out for me for weird reasons. I don't know. Paint this white and just put a wash of this on it. And I do, and I'm like, well, man, this looks like crap.
Well, I found out that the heavy metal team will sometimes post on either it's Instagram or Pinterest. Their painting guide on how they painted certain things,
and it doesn't match.
It's on their video they'll say, "Oh, we used these 3 paints," but then everyone else goes, "We used these 10 paints, and these 3 washes."
Get real, right? I think this is the coolest use of the model, where you have your Necrons just piling out of the thing. That looks so cool.
Yeah,
that looks awesome. Seriously, GW, you got it going on when it comes to that. The future. Now, there's a lot of sneak previews going on here, and I'm going to show you another Adeptus Sororitas model that they've officially announced. But in that video, which we cannot show you on the show, but if you go to the website, Warhammer Community, you can check it out. We got some orcs coming down.
Yeah, it looked like an orc boy. I wouldn't be surprised if it was an orc boy. I also wouldn't be surprised if they're like, oh, this is our anniversary model. It's an orc boy.
Right.
And be like, yeah, you're not getting orcs.
Right.
Because I remember when they had Orktober.
Oh, yeah.
Thought, oh, we're going to get new orcs.
They got vehicles. They got speed freaks.
Yeah, they got speed freaks. But it was like for everyone who played AOS was like, oh, maybe we'll get new hard boy models.
Right.
Nope. Will we get anything? No. So I'm kind of like, I hope it's new boys, because they're I'm there's talk among me and my friend of I was going to do Drukhari, but he wants to do Drukhari.
Right.
So I might end up doing orcs
Mm-hmm.
because our friend Scott said I need to paint a green army.
Are you doing orcs? Mason, really? That's awesome.
I might do, or it depends on how, because if he does Drukhari,
Yeah.
I might do orcs. But also, this depends on how soon their new
Codex?
the boys get released.
Yeah.
This is kind of like a being workshopped among me and my friends. So, but it's if the new boys come out, I might consider doing orcs because I'm probably I'm insane enough to do orcs.
KO and orcs starting 2 new armies this year, huh?
I don't know if orcs would start this year. I
hear you.
It feels like it's too soon for them to drop. It's too fast for them to drop new orcs by October because they would drop it in October because of Orktober.
Right.
So I'm guessing that'd be sometime next year. They could surprise me and say, "Oh yeah, here are the new boy models in October." But
I like orc vehicles.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
We'll have to see. It's all speculations and stuff changes. I did also think about doing a green Tau army. I saw someone did a Tau in a green color scheme.
Yeah.
And it looked amazing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, I could do lime green Tau. That looks cool. But then I remembered someone I know has a lot of Tau in his basement. Like an insane amount of Tau.
What are you talking about? For the greater good! What was that? What was that? I don't know what's going on back there. I mean, they might be white, so if you wanted to go lime green, that's cool. And I think I did see that green army. I think I played against it. It's pretty cool. Try Riptides. Warhammer 40k new starter sets sighted. I love you and I hate you, GW, for this. But I knew they were coming out, so I cannot say that I was totally surprised. So you have the Commander Edition, the Elite Edition, and the Recruit Edition. So different levels of you starting in, and they actually call these starter sets. They have that banner on the top that says start here. All right, so this is not the limited edition Indominus set. It is just their regular edition. The Recruit Edition has the core rules, it seems. It has your data sheets for the warriors that come into this box, and you have your transfers and your all-important measuring sticks with dice. So you don't get the dice or the measuring sticks with the Indominus set because they couldn't fit that in there, supposedly.
So they thankfully realized that if anyone's buying the Indominus set, they're probably already playing 40k and have dice and rulers.
It's very true. Very, very true. And they are correct. So here in this box set, you have some Necron warriors, and you have your assault intercessors, and you have that one captain dude.
Blade guard captain.
Yeah, blade guard captain. Thank you. You do have a mat that's on there that you can play with as well, and the actual bottom half of the box, when you open it up, the reverse side, if you flip it over, you actually have like a little quasi building that you can play with. And have that. They're very similar to what they did for the Dark Imperium, where they had the smaller boxes that you can get into. And they've been doing for AOS as well, where you have that start collecting box. First Strike was for the Dark Imperium. Then you have the Elite Edition, and the Elite Edition has a little bit more. It's basically the same thing in the last box set, but you get the bikes. And you get some more Necron goodness. So there you go. Very simple. Second level up, you get more models, you get more introduced to the game where you have fast attack units now, and you got to learn how to play those. It seems like a good buy if you wanted to, let's say you wanted some more bikes and you wanted some more assault marines. Let's say if you're playing Space Wolves or White Scars and you want bikes, that might be a way for you to go to get this edition and not spend the complete amount for the Indominus box set. And then this is where I dislike you and love you at the same time, GW. This is the Command Edition. Now, in the Command Edition, you get a rule book. Can't say it's the exact rule book as if you get the core rules if you bought them. There is some difference there, but Mason, you can talk about that. You have the command core rules right there. You have the data sheets. You have the transfers. You have the rulers. You have, it only looks like one set of dice in this one, not two. Weird. And of course, GW, you had to include the terrain in this box. Jerks. So, if I wanted 10 more Assault Intercessors and the terrain box, I would have to buy 2 of these box sets in order to get that, or divvy it up and get this box set and get that middle tier box set so I can have the bikes that I want, three units of those bikes, and then having those 20 Assault Intercessors. I think that's a good number there. And I have a whole bunch of Necrons, which may lead me to put a Necron army. And this really cool terrain, because new terrain, which will be ridiculously priced, and you regret that you didn't get this box set when it came out, because, you know, if you buy them individually, it's going to be like 10 times more the box. So why didn't you get the box? Fear of missing out.
Yep.
That's
how GW makes a lot of its money, is FOMO.
Oh yeah, really do, and it works.
Yep. So, and with this rule book, so you get the rules. From what I'm expecting with this rule book is you get the rules, but you don't get all of the lore that comes with the main rule book.
What's the difference in pages?
Hold on. So, because that one's 184, I think.
184. Okay.
And the main rule book, which I'm borrowing, it has nope, that's art. 367.
Wow.
Yeah, and
I mean, it could be that they still have the lore. They just got rid of the artwork.
I'm guessing what they'll have like cut down lore. Like, they'll give you brief little snippets of each faction.
Right.
But not like the whole like kit and caboodle. So because the lore section is this thick. Like, this all here is lore.
Wow.
So this all here is rules. So it's probably going to be cut down. They may not have, like, I hope they have the Crusade stuff in there, but because the Crusade stuff is, if you want to know, that's how thick the Crusade section is.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So I'm guessing it's like the main rule book without the lore.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll probably just have like maybe like a couple pages that are like, this is what chaos is. This is what the Imperium is. Yada yada yada. So yep. So I'm getting distracted because the art is so good in that book.
I can't wait to get the hands on one. It says here a word on Blade Guard veterans, and you may have noticed that none of the new starter sets that we just covered include the Blade Guard veterans from the Indominus box set. Well, there's a reason for that. That these glorious warriors will soon be available in a separate multi-part kit of their own. So if you're chomping at the bit to add a unit or two to your army, you won't have to wait long. So multi-part kit, hopefully with some thunder hammers.
My concern is with the Blade Guard.
Yeah.
The way they're sounding and this is, I think, we'll have to wait till they come out. But this might be taking a page from AOS and Stormcast. Because there are some units in Stormcast where you can build them as whatever unit they like. Take
evocators on Dracolin. You can build them as evocators on Dracolin, but you can also then build one as the Lord Arcanum on Dracolin.
And that invalidates the other two models.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, is this going to be a situation where you can build 3 Blade Guard veterans, or 2 Blade Guard veterans and the Blade Guard veteran captain, or 2 Blade Guard veterans and then the Blade Guard veteran lieutenant? And thus, you will always have a weird number of Blade Guard veterans.
So you have to buy more.
So you have to buy more.
Of course.
And I'm like, yes, that sells models, but it's kind of annoying from a just because it's you have to get so many of those boxes just to then round it off.
Ugh.
Like you're like, I now have 30 Blade Guard veterans.
Well, here's the thing. You go up on eBay and you get people selling their excess veterans. Like they have that weird number and they say, I don't want to build just a weird number. They sell it up on eBay and you kind of get a pretty good deal on that. So,
But I kind of hope that's not what they're doing with Blade Guardians. But it, for me, kind of, when I heard multi-part clit and as many Blade Guard veterans that as you get
In the box, the Indominus box,
mm-hmm.
I can easily see them saying like, oh, you can build your special characters from this. Like,
this is how you get those special characters.
Right. Look in that terrain. I don't know. I might pick this one up too. Command edition. All right. So let's get off the news right here.
Oh, this is a message for future Rob. Past Rob told himself, I have enough terrain. He chanted that to himself.
I
Future
do.
Rob. He chanted it to himself. So you're going against past Rob by buying the new command box set.
Maybe if I give the store money and then they remember me as a gift, they give me the box. Then I didn't buy it. I just donated that amount, whatever the amount of the box set is, to the store. And then they just gifted me a door prize of the box set.
I feel like this is going to be like Memento, where you're going to end up with the command box set and a ton of notes, and you're going to wonder how you got that box set.
Yes. With that, we're going to switch back to two-player mode. We're going to switch back to two-viewer mode. Right there. And right here, I would like to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters. First up, we have Mr. Mike Mick Broom. Thank you for definitely supporting everything that we do here. We do appreciate that. And we have Emily Yacheco, which also supported us. Thank you so much, Emily, for coming out and stepping up and supporting what we do here. Let me know if I got the name right. Again.
If not, you can withdraw your Patreon support.
Yeah. I mean, well, next time you see each other at the Nova Open or something like that, you just throw something. Throw that chainsaw that DW has. You can take pictures of that heavy thing. Just throw it, chuck it in the head. Yeah, I deserve it. That's for sure. I don't think I'd even block it. Be like, go ahead. I deserve this.
Man killed by angry fan at fan meetup by chainsword.
Yeah, that would make news. That would make 40K news. Everybody would talk about that. Actually got slaughtered by a chainsword.
be a hell of a way to get the subscriber count up.
I mean, right. You got that right. Alrighty, so thank you so much for supporting us, and we're going to talk about the main topic of the day, the General's Handbook 2020. We're going to start off with, it's still 3 ways to play. Ha! Yay! Open play, and we have narrative play and match play. So if you are new to this AOS, then there are three ways to play. The first one there, open play, where you could just build any cool model you want and kind of throw it onto the table and see what they do.
There's 3 ways to play. Don't give a shit, give kind of a shit, give a massive shit.
I mean, it's like you have a diuretic, right?
Open play is you have a diuretic. Match play is you are stopped up and you have not gone for 10 days.
Great analogy there, Mason. Well, with that, we should. So yeah, open play, bring in whatever models you want, and play however you feel like it. It doesn't matter. You're just having fun. Narrative play, where you're actually trying to recreate some kind of scene within the lore or forging a lore of your own and just having these epic kind of battles going on. Or match play, where you're coming in and competitively trying to see who's the better general of the army, and you're trying to even out your forces, so this way you have pretty even play, I guess, match between the two opponents. When you're going to tournaments or anything like that, it's match play that they usually do, unless they exclusively say this is a narrative play event. But match play is where the competitive happens. All right.
Well, and the thing which differs between match play and AOS and match play in 40K is that you can match play in AOS, since AOS does not have power level. You don't really have that distinction you need to make between that you have to do in 40K.
Right.
So you can feel free to use like a match play mission in a narrative thing, because they're like, well, there's no difference between power level and points in AOS. They're all just points.
Right.
So it's kind of a weird. I get they took it from 40K to have that distinction, but it's kind of weird in AOS because since you don't have power level, kind of the narrative and match player kind of mesh a little more than 40K.
Right. It does. You don't have the power level because it's already power leveled. So here's something I found interesting. They actually have the player's code in the GHB Handbook 2020. And it's sort of sad for me, and I do want to take a second. Sorry if you heard an echo the beginning of this show, because I forgot to wear my headphones. That's my bad. But
if you just get twice as much Rob.
Oh, who wants that? Oh, it's horrible. Oh, it's almost like my Tau. That doesn't exist. Okay, so
and it's like a stock shelf of GW stuff. I've seen it. He has a problem.
That I have to agree with you. I do have a problem.
So, if you want to help Rob with his problem, please donate on Patreon so we can get him the therapy he needs.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Look at the man.
Plastic therapy.
This is a poor, poor man who cannot stop buying GW product. Have a heart. Donate on Patreon.
That's perfect.
In the arms of an angel. That's as much as the song as I know.
Anything else, we get a copyright strike, right? All right. Perfect. That was perfect. All right. Player's code. Really sad that it has to be mentioned, but always be polite and respectful, because, you don't show up to the game store and just like flip tables. No.
Though, given your hobby places tables, if you can flip a table there, I will be impressed.
I mean, is that a challenge?
The amount of crap Dave has on those tables,
Yeah.
If you can flip that tape, if you can flip one of his tables, that's a test of strength right there.
If they allow me to have all the knights in their cabinets, I will find a way to get a hernia and flip one of those tables.
They don't own those knights.
Ah.
Those are all Brian and Scott's knights.
Are they all their knights?
I think most of them in that cabinet are all Scott and Brian's Titans and Knights.
Wow. Oh, I just got a newfound respect for both of those two. That's amazing. And you say I have a problem. Come on. Come on. There's like 10 gazillion points worth of knights in that thing, including a Warlord Titan. Oh my gosh. They're really nicely painted. Like, really nicely painted.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Brian got the knights commissioned.
Oh. Okay.
But I think Scott painted the Reaver himself.
That's amazing. Scott does amazing work.
Yeah.
He just needs to work on them bases.
He'll never watch this episode. Say what you want about him.
No, he'll watch it. Well, 5 minutes of it. Come on, man. Do your bases. I can do a whole class on bases if you want. All right, anyway.
This will be the one episode he watches all the way through.
Yeah, I'm in deep doo-doo now. Sorry, Scott. You're an amazing person and an amazing artist. I just want to see the base match your level of paint. Anyway, always tell the truth and never cheat. See, it just makes me feel bad that you need to say that. Like, really? Do you really need to? I guess you really need to say that. Arrive on time with all the things you need to play the game. Now, there is a need for that. I used to know one dude who notoriously showed up super ridiculously late, could not finish a game, and then at the end rushed. Oh, yeah, and I won. Goodbye. I'm like, no, dude, no, that's not cool.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Like, I feel like if you're scheduled to play someone, you should at least, like, in this modern age, you are just a message on Facebook away from just saying, hey, this is when we need to, is this time good for you?
Right.
Or like, hey, I'm running late or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, there's some where they're like, this game takes a while, and they show up and it's like the score closes in 2 hours.
Right.
And you're wanting to do a 2,000 point game of AOS.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, and you're taking goblins. Okay, so we're just not going to have this game.
Let's just set up for the 2 hours, and there you go. Store closed. Avoid language your opponent might find offensive. That sneeze was offensive. I don't cuss too much. No, that's just my personal choice, though.
I mean, I swear, but I don't like. I know there's some people who I've met some people who will they will swear like sailors, like constantly.
My father was a sailor. He was in World War II, naval, and he was in the Navy and in the Pacific. And yeah, I had so much cursing from him in my life that I'm full. I'm good. I'm good for the rest of my life.
Yeah, but so this I feel is more of jokes that work on the internet should not be used in person sometimes.
Oh yeah, it's tasteless.
Because I know that I know one person where he will make very tasteless remarks. And it's the thing where if you're in that group of where you all find that funny and then you take it out of context, it's racist, sexist, what have you. And then when someone calls on it, you're like, oh, I'm just joking. Well, a joke is only funny if everyone's laughing.
Yeah.
And if no one's laughing, then it's not a joke. You're just being a dick. And I know that's foul language, but I don't know what else to call someone like that. It's just, I don't get, it's sad that it needs to be in there, like you said, that why can't people just be nice to each other?
Right.
I mean, this is not a large hobby, so why do you have to be mean to someone who's taken the time out of his day to come down and play a tabletop game with you?
Right.
Because a lot of them have better things to do within their day than either get bad-mouthed by you or belittled by you.
Right.
So the one I liked that I feel should be done more is the talk to your opponent, and your opponent has to agree if you're playing with proxies or unpainted models.
Oh yeah.
That to me is a huge deal because
I have yet to play a game of ever since I got back to the hobby, play any game with unpainted models.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like having my big thing when I got back in the hobby was I wanted to have fully painted armies, and the way you do that is if you tell yourself, don't play unless it's fully painted.
That's right.
And there are a lot of people who I played, and it annoyed the heck out of me, where I had spent time and effort painting up an army, and I show up and they have gray plastic, kind of not like they've just put it together.
Yeah. And they obliterate you because they have like every best model ever that just came out.
Yeah, or whatever. And I'm just like, so, or they proxy something. They're like, oh, I just want to test this. And I'm like, so do I get a say in saying, no, I don't want you to pretend that this base is a knight because you don't want to buy a knight? I mean, I bought a knight. I built and painted a knight. Could you at least do me the common decency of doing that?
Right.
So I feel like it's like, if you're like, I don't have a thing against proxies, but you need to ask first.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like a lot of people are just like assume that, oh, you'll play me if I have proxies or unpainted or whatever. And in most cases, yeah, if you asked, I would say, yeah, that's fine. But it's when you assume that that ruffles my jimmies.
And it's not only that. If they're proxying the first time you play with them with that same model, by the 5th time you play with them, you kind of know what that model does. Go out and buy yourself one and paint it up.
Yeah, or this is a side. So I used to. So this will be a side tangent, but I used to play Kings of War.
Mm-hmm.
And what got me out of that game was they are very heavy into the proxy, and like that community was very much into the proxy category,
mm-hmm.
and it becomes impossible to when you can play a game where all you have is pieces of paper with what the unit is written on it. That's just sad.
Here's my Warlord Titan. I hope you don't mind.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's my Warlord Titan.
Like
Knight Titan shoulder pad.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Answer any questions your opponent has about your army and the rules that they apply to your army. Measure moves and distances carefully and accurately. Give your opponent a chance to examine your dice roll before picking it up. That was a problem with someone I paid once. Oh, I got full 6s. Like, you just rolled 28 dice. You know what the odds of you getting full 6s are? Too late. I'm running the wound world already. The wound roll is getting done. Like, that's not cool, dude.
And I feel like this is very much once you get to know people,
mm-hmm.
you kind of just you trust their dice rolls.
Oh, yeah.
This is more of if you are playing someone you have never met before and are not friends with, like, I mean, I know at least in some, because I've just played it so much, I get good at I'm like, okay, get all these dice out, done. And I'm like, but it's like I'm like, I know he knows I'm not cheating him. I know I'm not cheating him. Just kind of try just to move this process along. But if it was a new player, I'm like, okay, maybe just take a beat to let them look to see, like, yeah, I'm just not randomly picking up some that were like that. Flipping over some that were fails and that are successes or anything like that. Because there are some people who have it's the roll and it's not even really stopped rolling and they've just snatched it up and said it's like, okay, pass. And I'm like, just
what?
Yeah, it's
who are you?
Yeah, I'm like, okay, so you're clairvoyant now. That's good to know.
Oh boy. That's horrible. You see, for me, it's like, if I have to cheat, then what am I doing? Or like, really? Well, why am I playing a game? I want to get better at the game. And I mean, even if I won, it would be like a tasteless victory for me. I couldn't do it. But I still leave the dice rolls down so people can see it, just so I can make sure that I'm doing the right thing. Because, I mean, ignorantly, it might happen. So I just like, check my dice, make sure. All right.
Also, just my other rule is I knew one guy where
he would do, if he had to do rolls, he would stand back from the table, like I'd say a good 2 to 3 feet, and chuck the dice onto the table, like underhandedly, for his rolls. And guess what? That's the worst way to roll dice, because they will bounce off the table like a springboard doing that.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and they'll ram right into your nicely painted models. They'll ruin
and
terrain.
I was just like, dude, just roll them like a normal sane person.
Right?
I don't know. Like, it looks like you're trying to play a dice version of cornhole.
New competitive game, dice version of Cornhole, coming to a town near you. All right. Remind the opponent about the rules that they may have forgotten to use, that they used incorrectly, especially when doing so, it's to your opponent's advantage rather to your own advantage. If somebody gets something wrong and I see that they're making, oh, did you forget about shooting with those guys? Or did you forget, like you told me in our 40K battle report that came out just now, because when this comes out, yeah, okay. You told me, hey, you forgot about your psychic phase. And I'm like, oh, yeah. It's first time me using Nigel Stormcaller. And I'm like, yeah, thank you so much. I mean, like, just be cool like that, right? Never deliberately waste time during a game. This is something that terrifies me because I forget things all the time. And I'm like, crap, gotta look at the rules again. Oh no. I'm like, what is that? Oh, what was the movement of that? Oh man. And it just frustrates me when I have to do that because I know the opponent is very patient and I don't want to take advantage of that patience. And I'm getting to figure things out with my head. So slow playing people terrifies me that I do that. So I want to know the rules well enough that I don't have to keep on referencing everything. If I could do that.
You don't really have to worry about it. Slow play is really only of a thing in tournaments. That's the big thing, because in tournament play, when you have a clock, it's suddenly, because you can, it's the way it's scored where you could easily, if you can tell, like, oh, if I play this out to the full 5 turns or whatever, I will lose. And let's say this is turn 2 or 3. But you're like, well, if I can drag this out, I can either make this a draw, or if it, in a certain station, I win. That's where the slow play comes in, and that's where people get pissed because they're like,
it's obvious.
Yeah, but it's again back to the jerk. Like, probably the overall message of these rules is don't be a jerk.
Yeah, basically that's just one rule: don't be a jerk. Yeah. This is what jerk looks like. One thing that gets me: avoid distracting an opponent when they are trying to concentrate, and be careful to respect their personal space. And I used to play someone who used to say, hey, maybe you should do this, or maybe you should do that, or maybe you should do this. And I'm like, no. And then I realized that I use my command points, or, I use any kind of ability, and I used it doing the thing that you suggested, when the thing that I wanted to do the entire game, I couldn't do now because I no longer have the points for it. And I'm like, why did I listen? Like, I felt really bad that I listened to my opponent, but it was like constant throughout the entire game. It's kind of annoying.
Yeah, I've played people like that, and it really is like incredibly annoying and feels incredibly rude. Because you'll be there trying to make a decision, and it feels like you'll have this peanut gallery that is questioning everything you do, and even if you're doing something that you think is right, they'll like make. And I've heard I've listened to I forget what podcast, but their justification is, oh, it's just another part of playing the game. It's the psychological warfare aspect. And I'm like, that's a poor reason to just be kind of like a jerk to someone.
Right.
Is to mess with their head. Like we're supposed to be having the fight on the battlefield, not like having mental wars with each other.
When you're done to see, you get an extra victory point if you go out back in the shop and you duke it out. Then we'll really have war, right? I don't know. That's weird. Yeah.
But that's what I've like. I feel like it's like if you're having friendly banter with your opponent,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Sure.
But when you're kind of
deliberately trying to make them fail by confusing them.
Yeah, or critiquing like every time they make a move, you're going, "Are you sure you want to do that?"
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine if I did that during our 40K game? Is every time you be like, "Are you sure you want to do that, Rob?" I don't know if you want to do that. Like that would that would be awful. I would not do. But you would just if you're a new player, you're just like mental. Like you're thinking, "Oh, this guy's trying to help me," but why is he saying every time I do something, it's awful?
Right. I think at certain point of playing a game against an opponent who does that every single turn, what I would do is say, okay, why don't you play the game by yourself and I'll just watch. Because you know all the moves. So go ahead. Why do you need me if you're just going to tell me what to do every single turn? Like, I want to figure it out for myself. I only can get better at something I practice. And if I'm not practicing being a general, then that's it. Now, there are some times where I'm like, well, I don't know what that would look like. What would a good decision in this kind of scenario look like? What do you think? Being a good general, what would you think the best thing to do in this one? And I kind of learned that way. It's like an educational thing. But after a while, I'll get it, not have to doubt everything I do. Never complain about your bad luck to your opponent or your opponent's good luck. I mean, you can be disappointed that you got that double one in perils and be like, oh man, are you kidding me? But it's kind of not cool if you continuously say, oh, I would have won this game if I didn't perils. Oh, it's because I periled. You know what? You didn't win because you're a good general and you make good decisions. It's because I periled that time. If it wasn't for those dice, I would have won. Like, come on, really? Really?
I mean, there are some times you can say, okay, like our game we did against Brian's Custodes, a part of our win, I think, had to come from the dice.
Yeah.
Because we had hot dice.
Oh, yeah.
And it's one thing to say, okay, you just had bad dice, you just had good dice.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair enough. But when you constantly bitch about it for the entire game.
Yeah, not cool.
And especially I've played a person where they would be still complaining about certain rolls after doing very well 2 to 3 turns later, they'd still be complaining about a failed armor save or something from the first turn. And I'm like,
oh my gosh, let it go.
You've critted my these tanks off the board. Why are you still complaining about the one guy I shot in the head at on the first turn?
Really?
And I'm like, we all have bad luck. We all have good luck. It's a dice game. That if that is just something that if you have a problem with, you just need to find some way to make peace with yourself that randomness is in this game.
Yeah.
That you can be the next the 40K version of General Patton, but the dice can still beat you in the ass.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And you just need to make peace with that.
Last, it says, never collude with an opponent to fix the outcome of a game. I don't get that. You're playing a game. How does that come into play?
That's another kind of tournament thing where you can I'm not an expert on the way tournaments are pointed, but from what I remember is tournaments are sometimes pointed very convolutedly. And if you are able to say you can if you're at the top table.
Yeah.
And if you win, you get first, your opponent then gets fourth. But if you tie or get if you get if instead of getting a major victory, you get a minor victory, you still get first, but your opponent then gets third or second place. It's that kind of collusion where you're if I'm in so far ahead that as long as I don't lose this match, I get first.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't lose this match, you will get third. So let's play to a draw so we both get what we want.
Right.
Yeah, and that's pretty much what that is for, is just so that you, like, saying don't do this insider trading thing when it comes to
just play the game.
Yeah, just play a game.
Yeah. Have fun.
Yeah.
All right. Now time for the open play. All right. Skies of Slaughter, 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 Slaughter. Okay, so this seems like a really fun game to play. I'm studying how to do it. It's where we can get AOS flyers to actually play like planes going through and attacking, where you have to think about velocity, sequences, impulses, which is part of your turn, your actions, as well, pivoting, forward, 90-degree arcs, 180-degree arcs, doing loops, falling to the ground, mighty. You could crash and burn if you're not careful with it. It looks like a really fun game to play, and if you would like, Mason, maybe we can play one of those games for the channel.
Yeah, I would be interested. And I looked at the rule, and I mean, the rules were interesting. I feel like what is kind of sad is that there are some armies that are not going to be able, if you have that army, you're not going to be able to play this.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you play ogres.
Oh yeah.
Or I think is Night Haunt. Because I don't think there's a Night Haunt flyer.
No, let me see. I think the Black Coach. Let me see. I'm going to look through really quickly. If the Black Coach is in here.
Fire Slayers definitely don't have something in there.
No. But KO has a plenty of stuff. This is the year of KO, in my opinion.
Yeah. And my thing is that a lot of the models that they have in there,
Night Haunt doesn't have any,
would be really cool if you could still get them for that, like the old Phoenix models, the old General Mountain on Griffin. All those would be really cool for that, but you can't get them anymore.
Right.
I think it. I mean, I look forward to playing it. My kind of the one thing that like is with the flyers where some would look really good, like the KO, some of the like Deepkin flyers, the things on flight stands.
Yeah.
I still have a hard time believing the Maw Crusher can fly.
Murder Cabbage.
Yeah, and even like the Terror guys and stuff, where it's like, okay, it can fly. It just with that ground mounted pose on some of those models, it's hard to have that mental disconnect of, oh, we're actually battling above the city or whatever, above the battlefield, instead of like the Maw Crusher kind of like loping along the ground trying to whack this ironclad out of the air.
Yeah, I think generally when it comes to the models is that what you're representing there are avatars of what they can do, a moment in their time. I think that's what they're going for when it comes to that, but I totally get when it comes to the immersion of the model. If it's a flying game, have the model fly would be, I see how it can definitely immerse one into the game even more. And that Phoenix is an awesome model. Like, it's pretty cool. That is pretty cool. I think it's more for people who, been playing fantasy and they have the models and like, well, what am I going to do with the Phoenix? We can't really use it for just about anything, or can I? And I'm like, hey, why don't we try to play this? Ta-da!
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool, and they came up with missions for it and all that. I think the really cool one they have rules for like a 4-way aerial battle.
Bow chicka wow wow.
Which I thought was cool. Just because I really like some of the like more systems for playing team games.
Oh yeah.
And AOS, well, especially old Warhammer Fantasy Battle, Triumph and Treachery had some of the best ways to play that.
Mm-hmm.
but we'll get to that later in the book.
Yep. Yep. There's a lot of different encounters there. I want to give a shout out for who wrote these rules, because to actually rewrite the war scrolls for all of these things, because each of these war scrolls were rewritten. Like, it took the amount of effort it took to do for all of those is absolutely outstanding. That's why we have to play at least one of these games. Or maybe best 2 out of 3. I have 2 flyers. I don't know. If you can get somebody else to come, maybe we'll do the team battle.
I'll ask my buddy, I think, because he has a Lord of Change. So
oh, nice. Yeah. Definitely. But yeah, we have the Coalition of War battle generator. So you have the generic maps if you wanted to do a contest or something like that in your area. So you have general kind of rolling for ruse table, personal agenda table, twist table, and objective tables for each one of those. So if you wanted to create your own battle, you can just do so easily at the store if you have willing players. Team battle special rules. The Fog of War. Now, the Fog of War is quite interesting. What it says is before the battle begins, players are given 10 minutes in which they can freely discuss strategies and tactics. Once the battle begins, the players in a coalition can only discuss a strategy and tactics if the general in each of their armies are within 3 inches of each other. Otherwise, players must use handwritten letters. Now, you can pass these handwritten letters via air or land, and you have different kind of roles that, you know, can be destroyed or something like that. Interesting and definitely cool, but personally I think it's a little bit convoluted. What do you think, Mason?
So I like it. The problem is that this is something that you kind of, it will make the game longer, and you kind of want to limit how big the armies are. Because if you're, say, playing this with everyone having a 2,000 point army, and then you're having to message each other over, like, write each other messages, that's a long time.
Yeah, 6 to 8 hours, I would think.
6 to 8 hours at best.
Yeah.
I love the thematic, the theme and everything to it. I think it's very cool that that they thought this up.
Yeah.
And it makes sense, like, oh, you're delivering plans on horseback and all that. I think it's just, you kind of want to have a group of people where you're not having, that you kind of trust somewhat, so maybe that you can cut down on the constant, like, having to message each other on what to do. Mm-hmm. I'd be interested to try it, because it could be one of these things where you play it and it turns out you don't need to message everyone a lot, and you only have to send like a message occasionally, or like every once in a while. I think some of the things might take a while that it's longer to write out than it is to say.
I'm going to spend 3 command points and give both of our generals cell phones so we could text each other.
I mean, there's a Skaven device called the Loudsqueaker.
I love that thing.
That allows them to talk to each other over distances, and they can fix it by whacking it. So
Skaven's,
I mean,
awesome.
I feel like it could be a thing where, like, maybe not like you have to pass messages, but like you could only be in contact with one other general or something,
right?
And like not talk to the others or something like that. I feel like the note passing, even though because one of the things is you can have a GM that can do stuff, which I thought was really cool, like modify the notes and like have skullduggery and stuff going on.
Mm-hmm. Hidden command points, assassination attempts, bought favors, lines of communication. Yeah, this GMs can be really something in this team battle with special rules.
Yeah, I think because they're trying to go for Trap and Treachery, which Trap and Treachery was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I never played it, but I've seen it played, and it looked awesome. But the thing with Trap and Treachery is you had cards and all this stuff that, like, you had kind of the rules in front of you. This is you're kind of having to constantly relate to the rule book, and
I think, again, putting in the GHB, I think they want people to try it out. And if they really do like it and they get a lot of success with it, we'll see cards.
yeah, I mean, I hope we do see cards, or at least see like an expanded like a proper release of this, because I think it'd be fun.
They have a newly created Whisper Engine. The Whisper Engine campaign has 4 to 7 players and revolves around playing large team games in which every player is involved. Before each battle, players can spend resources to shape which players are on which team. And in the aftermath of each battle, players can further their own goals on the campaign map. The cunning general will ensure that they are surrounded by powerful allies before crushing their enemies, both on the field and on the campaign map. You can expect negotiation, skullduggery galore as players forge makeshift alliances and backstab each other in an attempt to seize victory for themselves. I would have to paint up Neferata for this one because it's all about that political intrigue and skullduggery. Yep. So organizing a campaign, they have different kind of symbols. The map is awesome. I love campaign maps. I would like to blow it up and put it out in the background and see where we are. I never played with a campaign map. It'd be kind of cool. But yeah, it has a campaign, which is absolutely amazing. And then when it comes to Coalition of Death, all right, Coalition of Death is when Warhammer Age of Sigmar games are conventionally played between 2 people, but battling out with several players lends to the game's new and exciting dynamic. This section introduces few easy modifications to the core rules of battles between 2 players, referred to as coalitions. So we have different kind of coalition territories. Divide and Conquer has quadrants, 4 quadrants of the board, where they have different kind of coalitions going on in there, and just multiplayer rules for that. You have coalition going straight across from each other, launching an attack. Pretty cool stuff. One cool aspect of the GHP handbook that I absolutely love is the Anvil of Apotheosis. Yeah, that is epic. And what that is the rules of this section will enable you to create a unique hero of your own design. This could be existing Citadel miniatures that you wish to have its own bestoked rules, or conversions that you have made. I'll tell you one thing, some of the examples of the conversions that they made in this book is absolutely epic. You'll find examples of heroes made in the members of the design studios over the next few pages. I just said that to help you spur your imagination. There are 6 steps outlined in this section that you must follow to create your own hero. As you follow the steps, you will have a host of options to choose from, including powerful weapons and ferocious mounts. After completing all the steps, you'll be able to field your hero in your narrative play games Age of Sigmar. So the 6 steps to creating your hero. 1. Set your destiny point limit for your hero. Destiny points, if you're a champion, you get 20. If you're a conqueror, you get 40. Choose your hero's ancestry, and they have rules for that. Pick your archetype for your hero, a commander, a mage, or an acolyte. Choose your bestial companion, if any, for your hero, and spend the remaining of your destiny points on characteristic enhancements or abilities on that hero. So you start off with your basic hero. You have Elf, Volgor, Death Mage, Dwarden, Grot, Bone Spitter, Orc, Daemon, Dragon, Ogre, Gore, or Human. This is so much fun. Oh, we also have Iron Draw, Mordant, Ogre, Cyrus, Malignant, Mortal, Osark, Bone Reaper, Skaven, Skeleton, Stormcast, Eternal, Sylvaneth, Skink, and Vampire. So you have all these kind of things where you start off with a whole bunch of Destiny points, and you can basically convert away anything you want and create your own hero for your army. That's pretty cool. It's something they did in 40K, I think 2 general handbooks ago, where you can create your own player right there. And I love when they do that, because I love forging narratives.
Well, I think this gives you much more control because you can have mounts and stuff, where I think the other one was just, you can give it special abilities to your character.
Yeah, and you can give it different kind of armors and stuff like that, and the armory and stuff like that. But yeah, this is definitely super in-depth. It even have rolling different characteristics and enhancement abilities, inspiring weapon master, superior strength, ferocity, consummate commander, archmage, all these kind of archetypes that you can like just really have fun and use your own models too. That's amazing. I love that. Love creativity when it comes to narrative games, because not only are you just following a story, you're commanding and forging the way by creating your own stories. And that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And if it's a really good story, maybe you can submit it over to Black Library, and before you know it, you'll be one of the authors. That's pretty cool.
The one thing I loved in there is someone converted Archeon into like a Chaos Lord.
What, this guy? Oh yeah,
that thing is epic. That's an epic use of that Archeon model.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Makes me want to do something with my Archeon model, but then again, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do that. I think the head is a little bit thin for the model, personally. It needs to be. It needs to have like beefcake neck. I think.
Well, when his previous rider was as beefy as Archeon, you kind of
it's hard.
Yeah,
it's difficult. Match play games. So you have the pitch battle points here. Good stuff. We have the scenery table with the cryptic symbols. You gotta love those cryptic symbols.
Yeah, and they've added more too.
I know. So you have nullification, healing, commanding, volcanic, entangling, overgrowth, damned, arcane, inspiring, deadly, mystical, and sinister. Each one has different kinds of things for those, and there's a lot of customizing when it comes to those things. And they have, let's see, this is my favorite battle plan. It's called Knife to the Heart. I'll show you right there, because knife to the heart. And you're to blame, baby. You give AOS a bad name. I'm sorry. I just had to. Just had to.
And you've gotten copyright strike.
I don't know. I did the AOS thing. I changed it. All right. Battle for the Pass reminds me of Battle of Skull Pass, personally. Remember that box set? That was a while ago.
Dwarfs and Goblins, I think.
It was Dwarfs and Goblins. I picked up that box set, and I don't know what happened to it. I think I gave it away. Yeah.
I vaguely remember it came out. I didn't get it, but I remember because that was when they had, I think in the White Dwarf, they gave you like a sprue of the, like, I say easy build, but the single cast Dwarves and Goblins you got in that box set.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think it's still the Spider Fang, the what is it really called? Like the Night Grots that you still get. Are those guys?
I bought it for D&D minis, and then I gave it away to a fellow DM. Like oh my gosh, you think I have minis now? Let me tell you, Mason. There was a time where I played D&D, and I had to have every miniature represented in every bestiary that there was, including the Pathfinder bestiary. It was pretty. I had a couple of thousand minis. And
you did tell me how you lived off minis for a while.
I did. I actually bought so many minis that I had boxes and boxes in a storehouse, in a storeroom, I guess. And I unloaded all that stuff. And, I was transitioning through jobs. And yeah, I lived off of selling minis. It supported me. It's like pretty amazing. We saw so many minis. It literally had like floor to ceiling kind of an entire room full of minis. It was
Someone
obscene.
called a stock room.
Yeah, it was. It was. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. I have a lot less minis now than I did before. So there's that. So yeah, I downsized. I can only still open up a small shop in this basement, not a large one. I would add a warehouse if it was the other one. So there you go.
Can't open up a superstore.
I'll tell you one thing. The person I gave all those minis to, he's still using them to this day and still has campaigns. So I think money well spent. Like really. Like, yeah, I hooked them up. So awesome. Oh yeah, shifting objectives, arcane power blaze, a whole bunch of battle plans for 2020. I can see a lot of, well, I can see the new tournaments going on using all these. That's great. Meeting engagements. Okay, there's some special rules for meeting engagement. Meeting engagement rules are designed to allow players to play match play games with a 1,000-point army on the battlefield, no larger than a typical dining room table. What's more, meeting engagements are quick and allow you to play 2 games in almost the same amount of time as a single pitched battle or complete 5-round tournament in a single day. However, you will quickly discover that just because a meeting engagement can be played quickly, it does not mean it is any less challenging than the regular pitched battle game. So you have special rules in here. The following rules apply to all match play games. If you cannot make more than 1 dice roll, excluding re-rolls, to negate a wound or mortal wound that has been allocated to the model, you must use more than 1 ability to negate allocated wounds or mortal wounds. You must pick that ability that you will use. Interesting. So basically, I don't know what I was trying to say basically, isn't it? It's just shortening up the dice rolls.
Yeah, it's for things like I think Nurgle and some factions get where you have an invul save, a feel no pain, and then a spell that gives you another feel no pain.
Right.
And it's just prevent I'm rolling 3 or 4 times on this single wound for every one of my guys.
Oh.
That's kind of what this is. It's kind of if you have a feel no pain, pick one of the feel no pains you have, whichever one's best, and that's what you roll the feel no pain on. You can't do I think with Nurgle it was like you could get invul, feel no pain, disgustingly resilient. And so you had to roll 3 dice for each wound you took.
Wow.
And that's kind of just shortening it so you're not having to that speeds it up a little.
Oh yeah. Well, we already discussed that the point limit is 1,000 points. For the War Scroll battalions, your army can include up to 1 War Scroll battalion, period. Note that you must pay the cost of the units in the battalion normally. The point value is listed on each battalion for the extra cost that allows you to use it. Unit limits. Your army cannot include more than 2 units chosen for the same War Scroll. So it goes down from 3, the rule of 3, to the rule of 2. You must split your army into spearhead contingents, main body contingent, and rear guard contingent. Each contingent must have at least 1 unit and conform to the restrictions on the meeting engagement chart above. And they have a chart here where spearhead has 0 to 1 leader, for 0 behemoths, 0 artillery, 1 battle line, and 2 other units, and none double size units. Unit limits up to 2 per battle scroll. The main bodies, the limitations are 1 to 2 leaders, 1 behemoth, no artillery, battle line 1 up, other units 0 up, which I don't know what the 1 up and the 0 ups are. That's kind of confusing me. Double size unit are battle line. Rear guard is you can have 1 leader, 1 behemoth, 2 artillery, battle line 2, and then other units 2. Double size unit you can double size any of the units there. Only 2 units per war scroll as well. So there's a continuous constraints of meeting engagement charts as well. You can ally people. You can include up to one allied unit. It cannot be larger than the minimum size of the unit size, and it's not included when working out the number of battle line units in your army, but it does count towards the number of leaders, behemoths, and artillery units. Endless spells. By paying an endless spells points, all wizards in your armies know the endless spell, and you can use and reuse one endless spell model of the appropriate type in your battle. You can only pay for the points for one endless spell in the meeting engagement. Command points. You can purchase one extra command point for 50 points. Add the extra command point to your to receive at the start of the battle. That is a lot. That's expensive. 50 points per command. Oof, that is rough.
I think that's been the standard price for command points. Is if you were under by, like if you were playing a game and you were under by 50 points, you got an extra command point.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like I could take an endless spell,
right,
or something else.
Yeah. I mean, that command ability must be pretty epic that you really need it.
Well, if you're playing Iron Jaws,
it
kind of can be.
Yeah.
I don't know if the Iron Jaws still work the way they did, but the command ability you could get on the War Boss, where you could, if you beat the unit you were fighting, you could fight again. And you could easily, if you were all in combat, just be like, I fight with all my guys
again.
Or I fight with all my guys. Oh, and you just don't get a turn.
That's devastating. Wow.
Yeah.
I like the Aurochs. I think they're pretty cool on their little like warthogs and stuff, and they're fun. No. Unless they come up with a starter box. Then maybe. Not a start collecting, like, all right, anyway. GW. Don't listen to me. So yeah, you have the terrain primary list. It's the Azurite Ruin, Baleful Realm Gates, Numinous Oculum, the Shattered Temple, the Sigmarite Dais, Wildwood. And the second terrain list also includes that, except for the Time-Worn Ruins, also Warcry Statue Head and Warcry Bell Tower. So that's the primary and secondary list for terrain as well. So yeah. So definitely shortening it up. We have meeting engagements set up, the arrival time, the arrival on the edge. So the arrival time, let's go into that. The meeting engagement setup, which looks a little different for me. It has little, if you look like little indications here. So let's get into that. So in the meeting engagement, one contingent from your army is set up on the battlefield before the start of the battle, and the remaining contingents are set up on the battlefield during the battle. The battle plan being used will explain when each contingent must be set up. Arrival time. Each contingent has an arrival time when it is, which is when it must be set up on the battlefield. This will be indicated on the map, included in the battle plans, and will specify either start, turn 1, or turn 2. Contingents with the start arrival time are set up before the start of the battle. Contingents with turn 1, after turn 1, I think you get the rest. All right, so arrival edge. Each contingent has an arrival edge, which is indicated on the map, including in the battle plan. So it tells you which board edge it's coming to. So it's pretty much really just dictating a lot of things. There's a lot of less thought, where should I set up or what should I do? It just tells you, this is what's happening, the end. Which cuts down on time, makes it kind of interesting, but it is also, you're sacrificing, you're restricting yourself. So you're sacrificing your ability to just, you're limiting yourself. So for the sacrifice of time, you're limiting your choices, which makes sense.
Yeah. And I've played meeting engagement, and it works better for certain armies than others. Um, it's mostly the high point armies like Stormcast, where it becomes hard when you have to split. Like if you've watched our AOS battle report, you've seen how I only had 5 units of Stormcast,
Mhm.
and if I'm having to split that 3 ways, I'm starting at the game at most with 2 units on the board.
Right.
And the other 2 are trickling in. The other 3 are trickling in. But if you're like yours, Rob, where it's like you had a similar amount of units, but you could bring more on, and
right. Shenanigans.
Yeah. I think it's an interesting way to play, and I think that just there are certain armies that will enjoy it more because you have the slightly cheaper units that you can kind of have more diversity in that 1,000 points.
Right.
I think this would be hilarious to see tried with the Sons of Baphomet.
One.
So
one. That's it. You can only have 2 units.
Yeah.
per war scroll, so you can potentially have 6 units, right?
But I think it's an interesting. I like the reinforcements. I also like the fact that you don't have to roll to see if your reinforcements come on. That it is a set thing.
Oh my gosh! I played a game where I'm just waiting, like roll. No, your units don't come in. No, I'm getting decimated. Come on.
Yeah, I hate that in games where it's the like they call it either scattered reserves or whatever,
mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, I get what it is. That like these units are coming from the back. We don't know when they'll arrive. But when you're playing a game and you're having to rely on and they're just the rules are just saying, yeah, you have to put half your first force in reserve, and it's random when it comes on, and it's random what unit comes on. Like,
and you get tabled in turn 2.
Yeah, so
that's pretty much it.
Yeah, so I'm playing with the massive handicap. If it was like, okay, turn 2. One half of that stuff comes on, turn 3, the other half comes on. Yeah, that's not bad. But when you're rolling it, and sometimes it's like 5 up, your unit comes in.
Yeah. And then your units don't come in and you get tabled.
Yeah.
That's it. I've been there. I played our buddy Scott's Necrons. Yeah. Ooh. And they just reanimate up on there. Okay, so they have Pitch Battles, Coalition of Death. And one of the things of the Coalition of Death that I really, really love is the Coalition Matrix. And guys and girls, this is pretty epic right there. It tells you what can ally with other things. This is the following coalition matrix shows the individual armies that can form a coalition in the Pitched Battle Coalition of Death game. The restrictions that your coalition will face on the battlefield will be determined by the hostility of its alliance. Use the key to find out which armies your allegiance can form a coalition with, which is great because you have one that, well, there's no coalition possible. We have the Battle Forged Coalition. We have a Fractitious Coalition and a Desperate Coalition. So let's see. I'm going to go into Flesh Eater Courts. Oh, everything is pretty much Desperate, Fractitious, or unless you're Death, which makes sense. Totally.
Yeah, I like like the Fire Slayers and the Quadrant Overlords, like pretty much will work with almost everybody.
Yeah.
And rather decently because they're mercenaries.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad they had the chart. I'm sad there isn't one that's kind of like the AOS Tyranid equivalent where they just can't ally with anybody. That should have been maybe Skaven. Skaven just will not work with anyone.
The KO cannot work with Chaos, it seems right here.
Okay, that makes sense. But they'll work with Death, right?
Yeah, I mean, they will work with Death for Desperate, Coalition, and Fractitious coalition. Yeah, if they're deep in over their heads, and you got Neferata saying, "Well, I'll offer you vampires for something in return," they'd be like, "Okay, you're mine now for eternity." Go Neferata. Go Neferata. All right. That's pretty cool. The realm of battle rules. All right. There's a lot of things, different realms, which you have different artifacts you can pick for depending on the realm. Not news for most people. Realm features with cryptic symbols, and then realm sphere magic and realm command abilities for each of the realms. You have Iquishi. Chimam. Oh, go on. I'm sorry.
Are these different from the ones in the core rulebook?
Let me see. So
because they have realm rules and stuff in the core rulebook,
yeah,
and also artifacts in the
malign sorcery. Yeah,
malign sorcery.
Yeah.
So is it just like a gathering of those, or is it like something totally different?
I think it's totally different, but I'm going to read it right here. It says, if you decide that your army is from a specific mortal realm and wish to make one of your artifacts of power a realm artifact, you must pick the realm artifact in your chosen mortal realms from the following pages instead of using the artifact from malign sorcery. So that's in place of malign sorcery.
Okay, so that's a weird way to word it, because it's for me it just reads like, well, if you're using malign sorcery, you use the artifact from there, or you can use the artifact from here.
Yeah, so if you want to play a game where you're using malign sorcery rules, you can use one or the other. You can't just cherry pick, like, I want this realm ability and this book, and then I want to get the malign sorcery. So this way, it's none of that. You're either using one or the other. So that makes sense to me. Yeah. So pretty good, pretty cool. Realm of Death. This is the Gravestand Brooch. And the Gravestand Brooch says, if you roll a 2-up, your army is dead. Hey, that's great. Can we use that? Can we use that one? No.
That's an awfully powerful ability. Like,
yeah, it just got FAQ'd as I said it. Match play auxiliary objectives. You have different kind of objectives going on here. It says, in a match play game, after setup is complete, but before the player is determined who has the first turn, each player must pick 2 auxiliary objectives to apply to their army for battle. Once both players have picked their auxiliary objectives, they must reveal them to each other simultaneously. Show me mine, and I'll show you yours. That didn't work right.
this is interesting. I like it's kind of like a second game going on, as like you have to kind of keep, if you're playing match play, 2 things in mind: the primary objective, but then the secondary objectives that your opponent might be trying to score.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I think, helps some. That I know in some games where you can, in some like match play games, there can be a time where you're just like, I won't be able to win with the primary, but I can win with secondary.
Yeah.
And this kind of adds that where not everything's lost if you're like, well, I can't make it across the board to my opponent, but I can at least tie on the primary and get my secondary objectives, therefore win.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so we'll have to see if the tournaments will implement this, because I don't know when the next big tournament is going to be for AOS because Corona.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how at least both AOS and 40K, how the tournament scene is going to shake out with these 2 new things dropping, and not having any big tournaments on the horizon to decide to have the big meta shift.
Yep. Speaking of tournaments, they have pitch tournament packs. So if you wanted to start your tournament, you can do so with these kits that they have. So they have the pitch battle, they have the meeting engagement tournament pack, the Coalition of Death tournament packs, team formats, tournament packs as well. And then open war generators, so you can have some random battlefields and stuff like that. Even army generators, if you really want to generate some of that stuff. Open war terrain, you just have that there. And they have the pitch battle rosters and meeting engagement rosters in the back of the book. Very helpful stuff. And this is permission to photocopy and personal use from Games Workshop, provided that you bought this GHB 2020. All right, that's pretty good. Awesome, awesome, awesome stuff. All right. Yeah.
I have a I would think is about the army generator. It's one of those things where I feel like it sounds good in theory, but you have to be someone who has a massive collection of that army for that to work well.
Right.
And especially for me with Stormcast, it's almost impossible to use the army generator.
Oh my gosh. Well, I mean, you could be that person.
Yeah, you'd have to be that person, but if you're not that person, it's like I can't.
You could be that person if you just played AOS and nothing else, and just played Stormcast. Then, yeah, I can see you definitely having everything.
Yeah, I would. I'm going to start baby steps and get everything there is to own with KO, but the thing is, it's like you can roll, and in some cases, it could be a unit that you don't have multiples of.
Yeah.
Or you don't have like another thing. And that's, I mean, I get it's a fun way to build an army, but I feel like sometimes they put a little too much work into it. And I'm like, the guy working on this could have been another cool mission and another cool narrative thing or something like that.
I mean, some people have their own talents. Some people are just generator guys, or girls, and this is what they do.
Instead of an army generator, I would have liked to see a name generator.
I love name generators.
Yeah, they should have done it like name generators for like all the factions and put that in the GHB.
Yeah. Yeah. They would have to have, well, I guess they have to have 2 separate name generators for Flesh Eater Courts, because there's the Illusion one and then there's the Reality one, right? So,
well, they would just use the Empire one, the Cities of Sigmar one.
I love it. That's true.
Yeah, but then we could have like awesome ways to name dwarves and Sylvaneth and Chaos and all that stuff.
Better yet, there should be an app for that.
So my friend told me, I guess there's a site where you can randomly generate like Stormcast names.
Nice.
I don't know if I remember using it, but it was like randomly generated which we just need a Stormcast generator, because Stormcasts are the hardest dang things to name. Because it's not like space, like Marines, where you can kind of give them like generic kind of like actual human names.
Bart Twinkletoes.
They all Stormcasts have like these like Artemis Hammerforged or Lightning Born, or like all these kind of like extra names, like last names that are like explain what they do.
Cloudy with a Chance of Rainborn. Yeah. Like, you lost on that one, buddy. Slightly overcast guy.
Trist Reforged.
AKA, huh?
Where am I?
Yeah. Who am I? What am I? Ooh. Let's talk about points. Beast of Chaos got some cool point jobs. Chimera is down 20 points. That's a huge one. Pestilent Throng is down 20 points as well. But the Thunder Scorn Storm Hero is down 30 points. That's,
I mean, my friend had Beast of Chaos for a while, and they need help, because he just said they've just been such the whipping boy, both in fantasy battle and in AOS that they need love.
I despise the faction. So part of me is like, yeah, man. Yeah. How dare you have hooves? How dare you?
Yeah, it's kind of they're a weird place where it's like well, we have demons. So I don't need like demons of chaos. And we have men, so we have slaves to darkness, which are men of chaos.
Right.
Why do we need this weird intersection?
Because somebody likes it.
Well, it's because it was in fantasy, Warhammer Fantasy.
Oh, there's that. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, Slaves to Darkness. Now, they have those little box sets that came out with Warcry, right? So, are they troop choices? Like, how does that work? How can I use them?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I know
that's
that
kind of
in
weird.
the app they show up under Slaves to Darkness if you look up. I don't know if they count as troop choices, whether they're elites or what. If I'm guessing they're troop choices and they count as cultists or
That'd
like
be cool.
followers or something, but I'm not sure.
Right. And can I use all of them?
According to the Warhammer, the War Scroll app, you can.
Oh, that's cool.
Because none of them, I think, are devoted to a specific chaos god. So
I like the snake people, and then like these almost Zinchi kind of people too, like the Oriental, I guess, or Asian kind of themed people. That they're pretty cool. And then of course, the Corvus Belly kind of people, the Corvus Cabal. That's it.
Yeah,
they're pretty cool too. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. Blades of Corn. Okay, so the Volgoroth, the Scarred, and Skaloth, the Skull Host of Corn, got 100-point drop. But that's all they got. That's all the Blades of Corn got. That's pretty good. You know anybody who plays Blades of Corn?
Nope. I know Brian has a corn army, but it's not Blades of Corn.
That's the wrong spelling for corn. Yeah, also not a fan of the aesthetic. Just never was, personally. Speaking of which,
I feel like corn they went too much into we gotta be red.
Yeah, it's a little bit much, personally. But that's just my personal aesthetic. People love that. So, go. I would love to play it against the table, but I don't think I'll ever collect it personally. Speaking of armies that I would not collect personally, but some people absolutely love, is Lobster Claw Girls. Heathenness of Slaanesh, which have point increases. I mean, not the Demonettes, they're the same. But Fiends went up 20 points. Hellstriders with Claws, Spears, up 10 points. Hellstriders with Hell Scourges, up 10 points. Keeper of Secrets is up 20 points. The Salaxi Hellbane is up 20 points. And the Contorted Epitome? Epitome? I don't know. Is up.
Contorted Epitome,
thank you. Is up 10 points as well. The Hedonite Host is up 10 points. Seeker of Cavalcade is up 10 points. Supreme Star Bartites is up 30 points. The Wheel of
Cyberites.
That's it. Thank you. I am butchering these names like a hedonist would. Wheels of Extrication is up 10 points as well. It's now 50 points. So there's a lot of increases. Were the Hedonists of Slaanesh OP? Apparently somebody thought they were.
Yeah, I think their ability is that they can fight first. I'm trying because I remember all the demon armies have like a weird way they get their points to summon in more demons.
Mm-hmm.
And I think so because I think Khorne has the easiest one where it was if stuff dies, you get points. Slaanesh has the harder one where you need to hurt something but not kill it.
Makes sense.
And I think Zeech is just you cast spells. And I forget what Nurgle's is. So I don't know if it was necessarily OP. It could be that maybe it was OP in certain contexts. I'm not sure. It's surprising that like their base that was all seemed like the character models are the ones that went up, but I guess they were just maybe low point costed when they came out, and now are a lot more.
I think with Nurgle, if you give somebody a cold or worse, putrefaction. No. Speaking of the Malachite of Nurgle, another budding army in my collection, or just starting to be. Beast of Nurgles got a 10-point deduction down to 70 points. Lord of Afflictions down 10 points. Nurglings 20-point drop. Plague Bearers down 10 points. The Plague Drones down 10 points. Pus-Boil Blight Lords are down 10 points. Putrid Blight Clings are down 20 points. Radagast is down 20 points. Yep. You see concerned on your face.
Well, I'm surprised because like when I played against Nurgle in AOS one time,
right?
They were already like the majority of our army was like tough as nails with Blight Kings and Blight Lords and all that. So I'm surprised to see them go down in points, because that just means you're going to fit. They're going to be more of them on the field. So it's just like, oh great, more bodies that I need to chew through.
Tin Hat time. You see that start collecting box, which has those plague kind of flyy things, the Blight Lords, the Pus-Boil Blight Lords, and the Putrid Blight Kings. Maybe they weren't selling as well as they wanted to, and this will definitely get people to buy more. I mean, I already have one, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was like the one guy played it. He just did Blight Kings and Blight Lords. And I think it was another one of those armies where you could just buy the Getting Starter box set multiple times and then just have a good army.
Well, sure. I mean, if you got the Blight Lords as well, you have two of these drone-looking things, and you can make one a commander, and then the other one is just in limbo. You just have to buy more. So there you go. And you have to have a ton of them. So yeah, that is definitely an army you're going to want to buy several of those boxes. Radagast, which awesome ability. The Rainfather is pretty awesome, but the model out of all the 3 kits you can build, I don't know. Maybe it's the way it was painted.
Yeah, the smiling. I still like the smiling face more.
Yeah, that is. Oh yeah, that is definitely the creepiest. Glotkin. I am so glad the Glotkin got a 40-point deduction, because nobody's using Glotkin. Nobody's using the Glotkin. It was just way overcosted. It's about time, I think, that they brought the Glotkin down, because it's a cool model. It's a $90 model, okay? You want to paint it, pour some love with it. I still don't like that weird tentacle arm, but, you know, hey, Magakin. I
mean, I played someone who did play it.
Yeah.
It was nasty.
Was it?
Yeah. It suffers from the fact, like, it was a tough thing to take down. You had to kind of focus on it, because if you just let it go, it would just eat units. Because the Flailing Tentacle is at full health, 6 attacks, hits on 4, wounds on 2s, -2, 2 damage. That murders some Stormcast. But how much was he before?
He was, let me see, 420.
Okay, so
now he's 380.
Okay, I can see because I think he was pointing around what your Terrorgeist is.
Okay, yeah.
And definitely the Terrorgeist is way scarier than he is.
Yeah, Terrorgeist is nasty.
Yeah, so yeah, if this guy on the Terrorgeist went toe-to-toe, the Terrorgeist would probably win.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that there was a point deduction.
Yeah, I'm glad that it did because I want to see some more. I hate when you have like a really expensive model and you pour all this love into, and then you just can't use it. I mean, it's just you have to shelve it. It's just
Yeah, it's the Stampa syndrome.
No me gusta. Skaven. All right, so point drops for the Doom Wheel, which is 10-point drop. The Hell Pit Abomination got 20-point drop. The Plague Claw, 10-point drop. The Rat Ogres, 10-point drops. Skyr Acolytes stayed the same. Storm Vermin got a 20-point drop. The Tranquil Bone Reaper got a 10-point drop. The Warlock Engineer got a 10-point increase. I heard he was pretty OP. And then the Warp Lightning Vortex got a 20-point drop.
Did I hear you right that Thanquil got a point drop?
Thanquil Bone Reaper got a 10-point drop. Yeah, it's now currently 390 from 400.
Okay.
It's actually Thanquil on Bone Ripper.
Okay.
Because Bone Ripper is what Thanquil names every single one of his Rat Ogre bodyguards, even if they die. So because the book I'm reading, he's on Bone Ripper number 2.
Nice.
Who I think just died by eating a grenade.
Gotta love that.
Yeah, so he's got to try to find Bone Ripper number 3.
Great. Daughters of Cain. Okay, so the Bloodrack Shrine got a 10-point increase. The Doomfire Warlocks got a 20-point decrease. The Hag Queen got a 10-point increase. And the Hag Queen of on Cauldron of Blood at a 10-point decrease. I'll say all that. There you go.
So it sounds like they decreased not the main source of what made the sister, what's it? The sisters, daughters of Cain.
Yeah.
Super OP, which was the base daughters and like the various buffs they could get.
Mm-hmm.
It seems like they're trying to make the other options for that more appealing. Like the snake women.
That's right. With or without masks.
Yeah, I don't know. Is there the option for with or without mask?
There are. They're the unit itself, you can buy the unit and you have to buy another one of the unit, and one has with or without masks, and I think different weapon loadouts as well. So I don't know. I like the daughters without the masks personally. Although the masks is definitely more representative of who they are. You don't want to fall in love with those.
Yeah.
They'll chop various things off of you quickly. All right. Speaking of forgettable events, Idanet Deepkin. All right, so the Acrylic King gets a 10-point decrease. The Lothan Warden of the Soul Ledgers gets a 10-point decrease. The Namarti Reavers got a 10-point decrease. Namarti Thralls got a 10-point decrease. And the Volturnoids got a 10-point decrease as well. So a lot of decreases going through for each one of those units, making them more appealing.
Yeah, it was surprised here that I guess not a lot of people are taking the named characters for the Idanet Deepkin. So right. They have seem fit to lower the points to make them more appealing.
Yes, just make a Sharknado. That's all. It's all about Sharknado in that army.
That needs to be the endless spell.
All right. Yes. GW, if you're listening, Sharknado. Yeah. All right. Now, I summon a boat. Just saying.
That boat, the boat terrain is cool.
It belongs in a fish tank, though. I've had one of those shipwreck boats. Speaking of boats, for the Quadrant Overlords, are you going to make your custom frigates and stuff? Because that seems to be the trend.
No, I don't have that kind of time. I would probably just do for out of the box.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Fire Slayers. I'm the fire starter. All right. The Auric Runefather on Magmadroth is dropped to 10 points. The Auric Rune Smiter on Magmadroth is dropped 10 points, and the Auric Rune Sun on Magmadroth is dropped 10 points. If you're on a Magmadroth, you're dropped 10 points. All right. Battalions, the Lord of the Lodge is up 10 points. And I want you to take Stormcast because that's like a paragraph of drop if you have it. It's like a paragraph of notes or 3 paragraphs of notes. It's
let me pull up the pictures you sent me.
Chapter 1, Stormcast Eternals.
So Aether Wings dropped 10 points. Astoria Soulblight dropped 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
Aventus Strider Strike Magister of Hammerhall dropped 40 points.
Woohoo!
Castigators dropped 10 points. Not like you were taking them anyway.
No.
Celestant Prime dropped 40 points.
Woohoo!
Compressors dropped 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
Decimators dropped 10 points.
Mm-hmm.
Desolators dropped 10 points. Errant Questor dropped 10 points. Evocators dropped 10 points. Fulminators dropped 20 points. Griffhounds dropped 20 points.
Yay!
Judicators dropped 20 points.
Oh, yeah.
Knight and Cantor dropped 20 points. Knight Venator dropped 10 points. Knight Vexilor dropped 10 points. Liberators dropped 10 points.
Yes.
Lord Arcanum on Celestial Dracoline dropped 10 points. Lord Arcanum on Griff Charger dropped 20 points.
Mm-hmm.
Lord Arcanum on Taurolion or Taurolion, whatever, dropped 40 points.
Cool.
Lord of Killer dropped 10 points. Lord Arcanum dropped 10 points. Lord Celestin on Dracoth dropped 20 points. Lord Exorcist dropped 30 points. I can tell you why that is later. Lord Veritant dropped 10 points.
Yeah.
Naive
Black Talon
dropped 10 points.
I love that girl.
Protectors dropped 10 points. Retributors dropped 10 points. Sequitors dropped 10 points. Tempestors dropped 10 points. Vanda's Hammerhand dropped 20 points. Vanguard Hunters dropped 10 points. Vanguard Paladors dropped 10 points.
Sweet. There he goes.
And then the Vanguard Auxiliary Chamber dropped 10 points. Vanguard Angelios Conclave dropped 10 points. Warrior Brotherhood dropped 10 points. Thunderhead Brotherhood dropped 10 points. Thunderwave Echelon up 20 points. Lords of the Storm dropped 10 points. Drakethorn Temple dropped 10 points. You're never going to see someone take that. Skyborn Slayers dropped 10 points. And Celestial Vortex dropped 10 points.
Drakethorn Temple, free.
Well, so a note on all the various like battalions you can take for Stormcast.
Mm-hmm.
So many of them are almost impossible to do in a 2,000 point army.
Yeah.
Especially like the Drakethorn Brotherhood, where you are having to take, I think it's like 1 Lord Celestin on Star Drake, 2 Drakethorn Templar, and like 3 units of the mounted on Dracoth guys.
Yeah.
It's like...
It's insane.
It's insane. And I'm like, why are you making me pay points for that?
Right.
And there's so many others where it's like, for like the one that's like Paladins, where it's like you need a 5-man unit of every single Paladin and a unit of Judicators. And it's like, okay, so I'm already at 1,800 points because it's like, oh, also you need to take at least 5 of the various knights there are. And I'm like, so there's like no point in this at all.
No.
There's only one that you can use, and it's like, I think it's the Prosecutors, the Celestar Ballista, and the Lord Ordinator. Or like it's like the only battalion there that's remotely you can use in an actual game, in like any kind of game you play. The others are apocalypse-sized games of AOS. So they could have just made those free for most Stormcast players care, because they're not taking them.
Here is my gripe about Stormcast. I love them, but here's my gripe about them. They are the poster child of AOS. Why are there just so many options that if you're a new player coming into this game, it's pretty guaranteed that if you buy one of those box sets, it's going to be Stormcast Eternals with something else. you're going to get into an army that is just so convoluted, has so many choices. I mean, I'll be surprised if you weren't overwhelmed.
Yeah, and so like I talked a bit back about the Lord Exorcist. The Lord Exorcist is only good against Nighthawk. He's not good against anything else. And I'm like, so it's there's some units where it's like, why would I take, like, they've just had so many options that it's like, why would I take that? And another grab I have is the Lord Arcanum. You can only get him if you buy the box set of him on Toralon.
Oh yeah,
which is $160 model.
Yeah.
Like, why?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, it just
they made to make it easy.
It also, they have done nothing to it. Sequitors are still probably the best troop option you can do because they've only gotten cheaper.
Yeah, and they're the latest, so that's it. There you go.
Well, it's yes, they are slightly more expensive than Liberators, but they hit better than Liberators. They can buff themselves, and if you take Evocators, you can then buff. They can buff both their defense and offense, and they can take more heavy weapons in them.
Yeah, it's an automatic troop choice.
Yeah, it's just
auto include.
Yeah.
All right, Sylvaneth. I am going to try to butcher these names. The Drycha Hemdreth is down 20 points. The Kurnoth Hunters with Kurnoth Great Swords is down 10 points. Kurnoth Hunters with Kurnoth's Great Bows are down 10 points. And the Kurnoth Hunters with the Kurnoth Scythes are down 10 points. And the Kurnoth is the Kurnoth with 10 points getting reduced from them. That last part was not true. All right. Still, Sylvaneth army would have had one on Sprue, of course, if I had that Battle Force box. All right, here's the biggest change. Flesh Eater Courts. Nothing changed from December 2019 FAQ, if you want to see any kind of things, but there is absolutely no change. Yay.
I mean, they think the Flesh Eater Courts are fairly balanced.
Mm-hmm. Yep, they should have the Royal Terrorgeist be free. Come on. No, that thing is beastly. I think it's right. I think it's right. That thing is just, it does some work. But I'm telling you, I'm playing against you, and I have to tell you, head over heroes, you are the better general. Like, I do not have them skills yet, so I'm working on it.
The amount of sixes you roll on the maw.
Oh my gosh.
Generates mortal wounds.
Yeah. And you can re-roll those with the command points. So it's like, re-roll failed ones. Ooh, that's nasty. Ooh. Legions of Nagash. My big boy, Nagash. Blood Knights are down 20 points, which I'm not a fan of those models. The Coven Throne is down 20 points. So if you like some of that vampire action on a floaty throne, there it is. I'll tell you, the thing about that model is it has so many spiky bits. Things just snap off that thing if you're not super careful. Like 20 times worse than the Terrorgeist that I had. 20 times worse.
I forgot that thing broke halfway through our game.
Yeah. I had to have a repair halfway through the game. I was like, it's okay. It's okay. I can put his hand back. It's not a problem. Prince Vorai is down 20 points because Death March, the Battalion Death March is down 10 points. Interesting. Night Haunt. There's a lot of issues with Night Haunt. I think they just need some fixes. Like throughout the army, they just need some fixes right here. And point drops help, but I don't think it completely resolves all the issues that they have.
Well, I feel like Night Haunt is one of the worst armies to collect.
And why is that?
Just mostly because
you have a lot of units that are tied both to the Soul Wars box, and like you have also some other units that are only available in easy to build in the push fit. And some of the unit, and especially with the Soul Wars box, you get some of those units that are incomplete. And so you have to buy more to then complete them. And it's just, again, as you said before with Stormcat, it's a line that's just all over the place, just trying to put together a sensible army.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I have a ton of them. I have a ton of them. They need to get their act together. The Dreadside Hardens are down 10 points for the minimum unit, 20 points for the maximum. Guardians of the Soul with Nightmare Lantern is down 10 points. Hex Wraiths are down 10 points. The Relicnar Grimholder, that push fit model, is down 10 points. The Briar Queen and the Thorns of the Briar Queen are down 20 points. If you like your Warhammer Underworlds, you have the Thorns of the Briar Queen. The Condemned is down 10 points as well. Gloomspire gets... Alright, so we have the Giantcold Troglobs are down 20 points. The Giantcold Troglyphs are down 10 points. And the Gabapalooza, one of my favorite names in AOS, the Gabapalooza is down 20 points. The Trog Hero is down 10 points for those. That's always good. Gabapalooza. How cool is that? Let's talk about the Sons of Behemoth. They have actually points for them. So we have the Maw Crusher Gargants. 180 points for the minimum unit. 480 for the maximum. Gatebreaker Mega Gargant was 490 points. The Kraken Eater Mega Gargant is 490 points. And the War Stompa Mega Gargant is 480 points. I dare you to make a 1,000-point list of that.
What was the first unit?
First unit is the Man Crusher Gargants.
Okay, so I'm assuming that those are going to be the original giants.
Yeah, those are going to be the line troops, I guess.
Yeah. And that the Mega Gargants are the giant, going to be the, like, yeah, they're going to be huge.
Boom. it's going to be like Warlord Titan size. Like, here's a small child. Boom. All right.
I would like to see them do like a Warlord sized dragon.
Yes. I think they have one for Smog, is it? Yeah, for the Hobbit.
They might have one, but I would like to see one for AOS, like a big one for AOS.
Yeah, all right, and that is it for the General's Handbook 2020, our review of what's in it, some of the point changes, some of the things that are cool within it, everything. That is with the GHB 2020. Looking forward to using it and having some sky battles with you. I want to be able to use that. Are you going to create your own hero? I don't know if I am.
Yeah, I'm probably not. Like, if... It's the problem I always have with create hero stuff is I would love to do it, but then it's like I have this model that I can't use outside of
narrative play.
Yeah, the narrative play, and that for me is kind of a little bit of an issue.
I mean, you just introduce different skills and abilities to a model that you already have.
Yeah.
Yeah, like using that extra system guy from the Stormcast to have different abilities. It just, there you go. He's different. He sucks human flesh up now because he's weird like that. He got hit in the head too many times, and he was like, "Hey, that's Gimli over there." He's special. He got reforged way too many times. It's like Clubber Lubber. He got reforged way too many times. It's actually got sent in the mail when I bought some miniature stuff, and this is all they sent me in the box. It's like, we completed your order. And I'm like, what the heck? What? Really?
The weirdest Amazon scam ever.
I mean, really. It was. It was. Yep. And this is Timmy the Tao to remind me that I need to paint Tao at some point. Just Timmy.
If you need any more other than the massive boxes of Tau behind him.
Yeah. I wonder if I could put that in the battlefield. Here's a box. Here's some other boxes. Let's have an apocalypse game.
Have on sprue, so
let's have an apocalypse game. Let's do that. Yeah. All right.
My apocalypse box versus your apocalypse box.
Sitting by the fire. Actually, don't sit them by the fire. That's a bad idea. Bad idea. Really happy how my dark metal came out. I'm going to do a tutorial on that. It's pretty cool. Yeah. Yeah, I should, if, fingers crossed, get this done by the end of the week. Although I did buy, well, I had a Knight Questor, I think it is, and I had a box of that, and I bought the upraise screw for Canis Rex, and I don't know if I have the decals for it, so that might all be freehand.
Well, that adds a little wrinkle into the whole get the night done in a week thing.
Yeah, or I could, wolf it out and make it custom. Maybe Canis Rex-ish. I don't know. How many times am I really going to use Canis Rex on the battlefield anyway? So it's like, I could just have fun with it.
Well, if they were doing Knight Army, you kind of want him, because he is like a special named knight that has named knight abilities, so.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know how that works. I don't know. I like the big stompy robots. They look cool. That's how my Knight Army works. And I already messed this up because now they're both red on one side.
Yeah, so maybe making it Wolfie would work.
Yeah, I'll just add it to my... Oh, they're all going to be Hawkshroud. That's going to be my house if I have a house. So I'm just going to sneak in a Hawkshroud symbol on this sucker, and I'll just change the weapon profile to the big shooty thing instead of having all those abilities, I guess. The only way I could fit them in there, I guess. I mean, you have a lot of knights.
Yeah, I have 4.
Yeah, that's a decent amount. I know somebody who bought 16 knights. I don't know why. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's...
They're all magnetized.
I still even don't like, if you're magnetizing them, that's still even less of a reason to have 16 of them.
Yeah, I don't...
Like, at most, I would say 6 magnetized knights would be a decent amount.
And like, those are rookie numbers, bro. I'm like, wow. You like your knights, don't you? Yeah.
Apparently he does.
He does. He does. Yep, absolutely. Well, speaking of knights, if I have a week to paint this knight up, and if I expect to do freehand or anything crazy with it, then I should get going. And it's about dinner time anyway. So, any closing thoughts there, Mason? GHB 2020.
Probably people are going to be mad at me that I didn't have much more to say on this. I don't have the Gerald's Handbook yet. I hope to get it soon, because I'm actually looking forward to doing KO in AOS, because I did do Stormcast, but I really like KO.
Bro, you could always borrow mine, man. Not a problem.
Yeah. And given as often as we're doing battle reports, that actually might not be a problem.
Yeah, I know.
So, but I like the changes. I wish they would make their terrain rules make more sense. Like, just, this would have been a chance to go full, this is what we're doing in 9th with keywords or something like that. Mm-hmm. But still having the table with the weird runic symbols is just annoying.
Yeah.
And I mean, I like the flying rules are cool. For the aerial dogfight thing.
Yeah.
I haven't looked at them. I hope there's rules for like having buildings that you could possibly run into if you get low enough.
Check it out, that terrain, because you get that War Scryer Citadel into there, and then
Yeah,
you'll have some fun.
I like the idea of, because there are so many kind of towers and stuff in AOS. I like the idea of, if you're low enough, you can accidentally crash into a piece of terrain.
I don't see any over here. Mm-mm.
If there's not rules for that, that's a big downside of those rules. If there is not rules for crashing into stuff.
But here's the thing: it's open play. We could make it happen. We could start writing some rules, man. Let's just submit that to GW and be like, "Yeah, we're alternate rule writers for open play." I'm sure they're looking for people.
Well, I also know that I think you can't copyright rules, so they could easily steal it from us.
Oh no, we would submit it to them. Be like, "Hey, here's a suggestion." And then we wouldn't have to buy box sets of things anymore. And then you will have your Stormcast Eternal army.
I don't know if I want that. I don't know if I want to be sent free stuff, because that's
you're obligated to paint it all.
Yeah, that's like if you're like, oh, this like being a crack addict and being like, oh, if I just do this, I can get free cracks sent to me.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I'll just have to get a couple of more shelving units. I mean, I have room down here. Could line all the walls with shelves. Yeah, I think that would be good. What do you think? No.
This is Rob's game room / hobby emporium. If you see anything you like on the shelves, just make him an offer.
Well, here's the thing. I need to be able to speed paint to a very high quality, and then I should be able to. That's why I'm putting constraints. Like, I need to get this night done in a week. How do I make that happen? Things like that. So, we'll see.
I'm thinking the way you're going to get that happen is using some military grade energy drinks.
The thing is with me, when I paint, I'll get inspired and then I'm locked in and I have a plan. The hardest thing for me is conceptualizing what I'm going to do next. If I already know, okay, so this is a 4-quote red, this is what I'm using for the highlight, this is going to be the extreme highlight, here's going to be the shadow, and then I'm going to reinforce the shadow with that, and then all I have to do is tape it. I'm like, tape, robot, switch paints, and 10 minutes, I'm like, okay, I'm done. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool.
So I just noticed this. This is for the people at home. So I have Rob on a screen over here, and where Rob is in the picture is not where he is. So it looks like I'm just staring off screen. I'm actually looking at Rob. So that's why I might look like I'm just zoned out about what Rob's talking about. No, I'm paying attention. It's just where he is not in the exact place. So I'm expecting you to have the knight on Saturday. So are we going to see the knight hit the table on Saturday?
Wow, that's pressure. I'm going to try for that. And if I'm bringing the knight, then I don't know what else I'm bringing. That's going to be it.
Well, I'm pretty sure Scott has something in his basement that can fight it.
Oh, yeah, okay. Here, I speed painted a knight. Hopefully it's okay. I don't know. Scott will probably... People in our group would be like, well, you didn't do this and you didn't do that. It's that's the point of speed painting. It looks great. Not going to win any competitions, but hey, for me, it's good enough for tabletop. Which, honestly, if it's good enough to be in my cabinet and I look at it and I feel proud that I did it, then that's good enough for me. That's it. That's my tabletop. That's where I'm at. I do have high standards, though, for my own army. I submit myself to torture. All right, GHB Handbook 2020. Neve Black Talon. Yeah! Yeah. Flying.
Cheaper Stormcast across the board.
Oh, yeah, just basically everything, right?
Yep. I don't think there was I think it was there were only a few things that didn't get cheaper, but they were already good and cheap enough.
Yes, right. I like for the Conquest that they actually have the tournament packs that you can just pull together. So if you have a group of people and you want to actually make a tournament, it makes it easy. I like the secondary objectives, the auxiliary objectives for the match play. I think that's a great thing. I also think that terrain rules needs to be a little less convoluted. I really love the coalition of death matrix, so you can clearly state who can ally with who. I do love that flying game. I think it's a cool way to use models that you may or may not be able to use in your regular games, especially if you have some of those older models that are really not getting used on the shelf. You could dust them off of the shelf and bring them on, or have a hermetically sealed shelf so you don't have to dust them off. That's always good.
I would have liked it if they included for other, like the engine riggers for KO and like the prosecutors, which would actually be like high flying models.
Yeah.
If they included rules, and I would have liked to see it not just big flyers, but like actual, like these are things that would have been an aerial combat kind of thing.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. Absolutely. So what you're saying is it's good, but it could be even better. Yeah. Absolutely. So the inclusion of terrain that you can crash into, and the inclusion of different flyers to have different abilities. The Anvil of Apotheosis is absolutely epic. That you have that creativeness, and just the rules of that flying. Just the rules is absolutely amazing that they have the battle the war scrolls for each and every individual remade. The amount of effort that it takes to do that, pretty epic indeed. All right, GHA Handbook, worth the price of admission. A lot of cool things in there. I can't wait to start using some of that stuff. And that's pretty much it for me. Well, if you like this Skull Session, like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time on the Miniatures Paintbrush.